Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Invictus Racing League No Assist Championship. My name is Gareth, otherwise known as Captain Stiff, and tonight, yes, we're here in China, Shanghai, just after the 1000th World Championship race this weekend. Luckily, we've seemed to be falling on the same calendar as Formula One, and yes, we are here in Asia for the Chinese Grand Prix, a 5.45 kilometre, 3.38 mile long circuit, 16 turns on a clockwise course, 51 gear changes over the lap distance. It's a 380 metre run to turn one with full throttle, around 55% of the lap. The longest pure straight in F1 at just over 3/4 of a mile. Of course, Baku not a pure straight due to that slight kink in it, where the cars will be hitting the top speed of 211 miles an hour, all the way down to that harsh hairpin at turn 14, where the drivers will be going all the way from 8th gear down to 2nd gear. So a real heavy braking zone there. Running probably around a medium to low downforce section. Of course, you want to have the speed for that straight and the pit straight, but equally you've got those very twisty sections in Sector 1 and in Sector 3. But of course, I am joined in the commentary box once again by my good friend Sab. So good evening, Sab. Great to have you along.
Good evening. Yes, it's great to be back after that short break. We had a great race last time out in Silverstone with Sam taking his 4th win in a row. Unfortunately for him, he's not here tonight. So can the chasing pack take advantage of him not being here tonight and try and close that gap up? Because at that point, until he'd not turned up tonight, he was running away with his championship. This track, it's a great track for overtaking, and down that very long straight that you've pointed out, it can always, with the DRS, of course, always give people an opportunity to make those late dives, like Daniel Ricciardo style, late dives down into turn 14. So hopefully tonight we should definitely see some great battles out there on that track.
Yeah, like you say, a slightly depleted grid, but that doesn't mean any less action on track. We've got some superb drivers, but yeah, agreeing with you there, it's a huge miss to not have the likes of Scopefielder like Sam on the grid tonight, and of course we hope to see them back next week, but it's definitely all on the likes of Scott Boybetter and OSB and Speed Queen 80. They are the closest really that are able to catch up to the likes of Sam, but he's taken 4 race victories in a row, so you can see that he really is the man to beat. So you need to take advantage in these cases where he's missing from the grid. And which one of the two do you think is better lined up to get on top of the podium this evening?
They're both quite evenly matched, aren't they, so far this season? I'd slightly lean towards Speed Queen just through her experience and her consistency that she's shown over the years in No Assist. But these two have got to take advantage of that. They've got to try and go for maximum points. Can they even get an assist from their teammate to help with strategy? Who knows? But if they don't take advantage of missing drivers like Sam and Scope tonight, then it's just not going to be their season. They have to take advantage and go for that win.
Yeah, absolutely. And Scott, of course, took the first 2 race victories of the season in Bahrain and Spain. But after that, he's had a bit of an off season. He didn't finish in Japan. He had a couple of midfield places in Austria and Canada. Managed to get onto the podium last week or 2 weeks ago in Britain, but yeah, like you say, Speed Queen, she sits on 56 points. She's yet to finish off of the podium. She's had 3 third places, 2 third places, a second place, and she's not managed to finish outside of 4th place, not off the podium. My bad there. But yeah, you can see the consistency, not being able to finish lower than 4th. She's definitely going to be one of the drivers tonight that everyone is looking to beat and keep behind.
Oh, definitely. Speed Queen, you've got to be consistent in this league, and Speed Queen shows that time and time again. If she's not quite up there for the race victory, she'll always be scoring really good points. And if you can be doing that regularly throughout the season, 9 times out of 10, you're either going to be winning the championship or you're going to be running somebody who is winning the championship really close. And I cannot see her not being in this championship towards the end of the season, whether she's going on to win it or whether she's pushing the likes of Sam or Scope or Scott right to the very last race. She'll definitely be there to want to watch again tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And some track details about the Shanghai circuit. It first raced in 2004, located on the outskirts of Shanghai, right next to Shanghai International Airport. The circuit layout based on the word Shang in Chinese, which actually means to ascend. So it was a symbolic track design for the Chinese. It's got long straights and tight corners, and the apex of these corners is really crucial, especially in the first sector of the lap, and you need to make sure you're not running wide. And it's almost a never-ending turn, and the snail section from turn 1 through into turn 4, and it really you just scrub off time and speed as you go through it. And it's really being careful, especially for these guys on no assist, being careful on the brakes and being careful equally on the accelerator on the exit on turn 4 that they've got to watch out for. And there's two over 270-degree turns, and that of course is turn 1 through to turn 4, and equally turn 12 onto turn 13 in the main straight. So a lot of wear will be going into the tyres on the right hand side as they get the bearing load on the off camber corners. But it's a track that definitely promotes overtaking, but watch out, because pole is on the left side of the track, which is the cleaner side. However, it's as we saw at the weekend with Lewis Hamilton, being on the right hand side can give you that slightly easier run down into the first corner. So it's definitely going to be who gets the best launch off the line. There's two DRS zones, the first one being the pit straight, and then the second one being the long straight down towards from 13 down to 14. And it's a 350 meter long pit lane with quite a long entry from the last corner. The stop around here takes around 21 seconds. So from your experience on the track, Sab, is it one that you like to race around? Is it one that you tend to miss off if you can?
I prefer to miss, if I'm being honest. I don't mind it. It's not the worst track I've been on in terms of what I race, but that middle sector, that can be really tricky, and you can lose quite a bit of time in there if you don't get it quite right. But for me, it's that turn 12 into 13. It's such a long right-hander, and if you don't get that right and you don't get it right into the long straight, you could be just mugged down that straight if someone's got DRS, and you've got to get that absolutely nailed on just to give yourself any chance to defend down into turn 14. So it's one of those tracks that you'd think with the really long straights it'd be easy, but in the middle sector it's anything but easy, and this can prove that it brings out the best and the worst in people, because if you don't look after your tyres as well, you will struggle around here.
Yeah, definitely one to watch out for. But don't worry, guys, the smaller grid tonight. Of course, we do have a much fuller grid coming for the next few weeks when the guys are back off of vacation and on holiday. But it will see a lot of action this evening, as we've got, by the looks of it, a slightly overcast session for qualifying here in Shanghai, but hopefully won't dampen the track too much, and we'll look to see if it translates over to a dry race. Of course, quite changeable conditions around China. We tend to see the rain kick in quite often, so it's one of those tracks that you've really got to be careful on, and you've got to make sure you've got the right setup for. And yeah, it's as we see this, the guys all just slowly choosing their setups, getting the right tyre selection. In fact, we'll go and check to see what everyone's on at the moment. You can see Humbo Stones immediately put on the harder, so's Renner, both gone for the medium tyres. Everyone else still on the ultra softs, but it's one of those ones where that one lap pace can really hurt you if you miss your apexes. So have you got any tips for the guys as they go out tonight, Sam?
It's a good question. I'd say I was going to ask you, in fact, instead of the tips, I was going to ask, would you likely see some towing action down here today, especially from the likes of the teammate of Speed Queen, Nikki, and Joel for Scott? Can they provide that little bit of a tow just to give them that bit more to try and promote them further up in qualifying? Because if they're gonna take advantage of others being out tonight, surely they've got to get a hand from their teammate. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we've definitely seen some good teammate action, especially in the Mercedes team over the season. They tend to help each other out on track and go out and give each other advice with setup and with strategy. So look to see the Mercedes possibly helping each other out. If one, as we see Joel and Scott are both out on track at the moment, will we see the Mercedes just give each other a little bit of a tow as we come round the final, or that second 270-degree turn? And yeah, so look to see possibly on one of the slower laps if they're out there, maybe just getting that a little bit of advantage of speed going down towards the hairpin at turn 14. So yeah, possibly team tactics coming into play.
Yeah, you normally, like you point out, you normally always see the Mercedes running in sync in qualifying, and Joel is just coming round to start his first lap, so be interested to see what he can do on these ultra softs as he now makes his way across the start finish. We've got a yellow in sector 3. Is that due to just slowing down? I think it was, yes, as Joel now is on his way for his first flying lap.
Yeah, Joel just going around the first two corners now. Of course, that speed just falls off of the car. You really have to really feather it through there. Don't run out too wide. You want to hit the apex. Oh, there, he's already gone out wide, so that's already lap abandoned pretty much for Joel there. So not the greatest start for the Mercedes driver. He out there already. So this is where I would look to play the team tactic game. I'd possibly drop back a bit, and you'd know that teammate Scott Boybed and OSB is out on track, so possibly get to the back straight and just hold up there, and then give Scott that extra boost down the main straight with some slipstream assisted DRS. So yeah, this is unless Joel's going to try and stick with it and set a banker lap, it's one that I would possibly try to back out and play the team game with.
I totally agree. That running onto the grass there really did cost him, and he's only going to be playing catch up now, and running these tyres hard still for pretty much no reason when he's going to have to go out again. That'd be a bit of a shock to me. I think he's still going for it, so be interested to see as he's just come around turn 14 whether he dives straight into the pit lane or does set that banker lap like you say. And he is going for the banker lap. What is he going to set as he crosses the line? He crosses the line and does a 1:32.6 in provisional pole.
Yeah, so it's a 1:32.6. We'll see if Renner can go quicker. He doesn't go. It's a 34.9, so it's a slow lap. And Scott equally does a 33 flat, so not a great lap for both Mercedes. Both Mercedes obviously struggling there out on track. And yeah, surprising. We saw Joel hit the grass on the exit of turn 4 there, but he's still 0.4 of a second faster. Stone on the harder compound tyre. Sorry, Renner I didn't see was on the medium, so that'll be the reason why he's so much slower compared to the two Mercs out on the softest compound of tyre. As Never Miss goes up into third place, now down into fourth as Renault of Gavpig. He does a 1:31.7, so there you go, a much more representative time I would say compared to the other guys. As GP1 Alex, the next one to cross the line now, he goes up onto the second row of the grid. He does a 1:33.1 on the medium tyres there. Good time there for the Sauber of GP1 Alex.
Yes, definitely. And there's a real good mixture of tyre strategies here. It's going to be interesting to see if the likes of GP1 Alex and Never Miss, who have set some decent times around the medium tyres, stick with this and look to run longer in the race, or whether they think they need to go on the other stuff. But at the minute, with three drivers not setting any times in there, GP1 Alex is in a good position now on the medium tyres in fourth place. He could potentially have a oh, he's just run wide there. I think he was having a bit of an issue. That's probably on his in lap there. But yeah, fourth place, good start for him in for GP1 Alex on the medium tyres.
Yeah, so you've got three drivers yet to set the time. Still in the pit lane, you've got Phil MCFC, Speed Queen 80 and Nicky 995. So both the Ferraris and the McLaren of Phil. Phil, having rejoined the league a few races ago, has set some absolutely blistering quali laps, and he's really impressed in qualifying. Not been able to translate that over to race pace as of yet. But yeah, Phil for MCFC, look to see the McLaren when it comes out on track to set a decent time.
Yeah, Phil. I think he's been unlucky in a few races he's been in. He's like you say, he's been absolutely flying one lap pace in qualifying. He really looks on it, and then he's just struggled slightly or had some bad luck during the race, and it's just not quite worked out for him. So hopefully, for his sake, in the McLaren, he can get himself another solid lap in qualifying, and then translate that in the race and score some good points for him tonight, which will give him the world of confidence, as we see both of the Ferraris, Speed Queen and Nikki, are now out for their first laps.
Yeah, we've just gone under 11 minutes in the session, and the Ferraris are out on track, so possibly 2 flying laps for those two on the ultra soft tyre for Nikki 9095 and Speed Queen. She's out there on the medium, so split strategy for the Maranello team at the moment. So possibly Speed Queen, knowing that there are of course only 10 drivers on the grid tonight, so this is everyone will be starting on the tyres that they qualify on. So if you want to run long, possibly using the medium tyre and knowing that you're going to have that slight advantage of being able to run long compared to the guys on the ultras, do we see her just kind of sticking on the white wall tyres?
So Phil is having an issue here. He's currently off track. I'm not whereabouts on the track he is. He's hit the barrier and took a big chunk out of his. It's just at the start of the lap, so around turn 3, turn 4, and he's took a massive chunk out of his front wing. I don't know what's caused him to go off track, but that is his run done for Phil already, as he's left the session. So I'm not sure quite what's happened there, whether he's having connection issues or whatever, but a tough start there for Phil.
Yeah, possibly a tricky start for Phil. MCFC will look to see if we can get him back in the session as soon as possible. But yeah, a bit of a commentator's curse there. I was just bigging up how quick he is in qualifying, and he goes and puts it in the wall straight away. So yeah, as we see, Humbo Stone's lost it on the exit of what is that? It's turn 9 there, as he goes down towards turn 10. So yeah. There's go Phil back in the session, luckily. Yeah, Humbo Stone out there on the medium tyres once again, loses it on the exit, just hit the AstroTurf on the outside of the curb and spun the half and luckily keeps it out of the barrier, so he's able to keep going. We've got yellow in sector 3 as well at the moment. Can't quite see who is on track, but we've got cars back out on circuit, out on the soft compounder tyre for Gavpig and for Joel. So they've decided to go for a slightly different tyre strategy. Gavpig, he set that provisional pole time on the ultra soft tyres. He's now on the soft, so he's looking to beat his banker time on a harder compounder tyre. So that'd be a pretty decent result from him if he could maintain this pole position.
Definitely. And it's funny, I was thinking just before these soft runners come out, nobody was actually on the soft tyre, which surprised me. They were opting for the ultra softs or the mediums. But I've seen now Gavpig and Joel on the soft tyres and a few others further down who are picking soft tyres. Can Gavpig beat his ultra soft time? If he can, he could set himself up good for the race, starting on the harder tyre, be able to run longer in the race and then have a better strategy towards the end of the race and look strong for the race win. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can go quicker on this harder tyre than what he's just done on the ultra soft tyres. He's just going to come around the final corner to start his next flying lap.
Oh, it's a huge twitch coming out of turn 14 there, and it ran him right out wide, so he will invalidate your lap if you end up going out too wide there. And it's one of those corners which is very tricky. It's quite a lot of entry speed on the entry to the final corner, and you're actually getting a 2.9 lateral G going through yourself when you're going through the corner, so you can tell just how much you're throwing yourself into it. It's done at around 165 kilometers an hour in 4th gear. As we see Phil struggling with connections issues, so hopefully that will be sorted come the end of qualifying. But it's still Gavpig at the head of the table by there you go. Joel goes slightly quicker, he does a 32.3, but that's still 0.6 of a second behind the Renault at the moment. So Gavpig well on form in the Renault to take a pole position tonight.
Definitely, and if he can't improve on these soft tyres, he's going to have to start on those ultra soft tyres. And now with Joel setting that lap on the soft tyre, that could mean strategy-wise he's in a better position than Gavpig. So Gavpig will be hoping to improve on the soft tyres. He's now heading down the long straight. DRS is now open. I didn't think he was opening it then. As he heads down to turn 14, can he improve? It's a hell of a banker lap on the ultra soft tyre early on. He's just around turn 14, no real issues there. He's coming up to the final turn 15. Can he improve? He's coming across the start finish line. DRS back open again. Can he improve? And he doesn't. He does not improve. So at the current situation, he's still going to be starting on the ultra soft tyres.
Yeah, and with just under 6 minutes left to go in the session, he's gonna have to get around pretty quickly and set a new set of tyres on if he's going to go out and put another fast time out there. But as we see, we're on board with Joel V520 up on the front row of the grid at the moment. So Joel doing very nicely, out qualifying his teammate of Scott at the moment. Locks up going into turn 14. Slightly compromised. We see him going out slightly wide there, but what's his entry speed in, or is he going to bail out? He bails out of that one. So Joel back into the pit lane this lap, but impressive one tonight actually is Nevermiss sitting on the second row of the grid in third position at the moment. So a good result at the moment for the Sauber.
Yes, he's looking good. I think he's currently out on a fast lap right now on the soft tyres. I think he is, or is he just improved on that? I'm not quite entirely sure, but he's looking really good in third place at the minute. A few guys further down the grid who you expect to set times, for example Speed Queen and Nicky, you'd expect them further up the grid, and Scott Boy better know, you'd expect him to be further. But from Nevermiss's point of view, this is a strong qualifying, and hopefully for his sake, because he's had, like Phil, he's had a few tough races. For his sake, it'd be good for him to score good points tonight and give him that confidence.
Yeah, Phil just caught on board with him there, and he was trying to go all pretty much to downtown Shanghai as he came on the exit of 13. He ran way wide out onto the runoff area there, and yeah, possibly looking at going for a visit down to the city, but yeah, managed to get back on circuit. But it's been a bit of a scruffy qualifying session for Phil MCFC, and he's bailed back into the pit lane with 4 minutes left to go in the session. Yeah, it's not looking, unless he can come in and set a very quick time, that Phil MCFC is going to get a competitive time on the board.
Now, it's been I'll probably have to blame you for the commentator's curse. It's been a tough qualifying for Phil. Hopefully, like you say, he can quickly come in and get some setup changes on that McLaren right and get himself back out there and set a lap, because if he goes back out there on the ultra soft, especially with so many on the softs, he could find himself well up the grid quite quickly if he can nail a good lap. So it'd be interesting to see if he can manage that, as Nicky is now out there on the soft tyres, as well as Joel has now actually come back out on the ultra soft tyres. Is Joel going to try and steal Gavpig's current pole position? It's going to be interesting to see.
Has Nevermiss retired, so he's happy with his 32.7 at the moment. But yeah, Joel out on track on the fastest ultra soft tyres, looking to make up that 3 or 6/10 gap, between himself and the Renaults. Oh, Nicky hard on the brakes, locks up both the fronts going into turn 14 in there. Now coming to the final corner, we'll look to see, it's going to be his first competitive timed lap this evening. What is it going to move him up to? It moves him up into third position. Great lap there. He's probably even lost out on second place with that lock up into turn 14, but a good lap there for Ferrari. Gets himself up onto the second row of the grid in third on the soft compound tyre.
We've got Mercedes on a mixture of strategies at the moment. Joel, as we've just mentioned, is on the ultra soft. Scott Boy better know is on the softs. Currently just behind Joel, coming down that long straight down to turn 14. So we're going to have a mixture of strategies for the race for the two Mercedes guys. Is it going to pay off for Joel? Can Joel grab pole position? He's just starting his fast lap now.
That will go on board with the Mercedes driver as he does start his fast lap with 2 minutes and 5 seconds left to go. Round 7 of the Invictus Racing League No Assist Championship. We're on board with Joel V520. He's had a pretty off season so far. He challenged with Speed Queen for the title a few seasons ago, but in the last few season and a half, he's just not quite been on the pace. But back up where he probably thinks he belongs on the front row of the grid at the moment. Can he improve on his 132.328? We're rounding the second sector at the moment, round turn 7 into turn 8 and turn 9 now. It's through this almost anvil-like hairpin, goes on, keep it off of that runoff area there. He does very nicely now. Charge down towards turn 11, off camber, uphill, very tricky to get the power on around this next corner. Does he keep it? He does keep it nicely tight. Now you want to pull in slightly just off the apex of the corner, and he does there very nicely. Doesn't run out too wide, of course, off camber corner, so you want to take it as low down as possible. Fire yourself down this main straight, top speed 200, almost too high. I would say 200 miles an hour, but he's doing 193 miles an hour, topped out there down into turn 14. Slowed down nicely, doesn't run out. Oh no, he doesn't. He runs out way wide there, so completely with 2 corners left to go, Joel loses a whole bundle of time, and it's going to really affect that lap time. He's not going to improve. He's lost almost 3 seconds at the end of that lap, so disappointing for Joel, who looked like he was doing very nicely indeed. And in fact, both of them, Mercedes, struggling out there as Scott manages to get up into second position. He only does a 131.8, so he's a 10th behind Gavpig, but he did it on the softs actually, so saying that, it was not a bad lap for Mercedes or Scott.
No, he's pulled off a good lap there. GP1 Alex was sitting second with a solid lap, but Scott pulled off a great lap there. Gavpig improves even more and goes a 131.627, cementing that pole position. A fantastic lap for him, but it's probably only him and Joel who's going to be starting on the ultra softs. I think. Did you say Joel improved or not improved? I can't remember. It's a minute anyway. It's Gavpig definitely starting the ultra softs, and if Joel didn't improve, he'll be on, I think, the softs. So it could be only Gavpig starting on the ultra softs for a race, which, it's going to be interesting.
I saw the Mercedes in second position. Thought it was Joel that hadn't improved. Obviously, the GP1 Alex goes up into second position. So great lap there for the Sauber driver. Phil bails out of the lap on the soft, so he's going to start well down the order. Speed Queen, she's going to come and set her first lap of the session. Where's it going to go? It's only going to put her 6th on the soft compound tyres. So the Ferraris in 6th and 7th. So not the greatest session for the Ferraris, but congratulations to Gavpig. Takes a fantastic 131.6 in the Renault tonight. GP1 Alex though, great lap. He's only 1,000th of a second off pole position. So absolutely fantastic lap from the Sauber of GP1 Alex. And look at that for a gap for pole position.
I had to double look at that then. That is incredibly close, isn't it? GP1 Alex had a fantastic race at Silverstone last time, and he's taken this form into qualifying today, and he's looking good. GP1 Alex, he'll be starting on those soft tyres, so it'd be a good bet to have on the race victory today if he can keep it together and do what he did at Silverstone. Great lap from Gavpig, by the way.
Yeah, GP1 Alex has been getting progressively better this season. Managed 2 podiums so far. Took a podium in Austria and an equally in Great Britain. So he's not a stranger to the rostrum at the end of the race. So yeah, putting himself up on second position at the moment, but like we say, blink and you'll miss it. A 31.627, a 31.628. How about that for a front row of the grids, and a pretty electric finish to qualifying for these guys. So congratulations to the front row. What a standout performance, especially from the Sauber of GP1 Alex. And here are your results from qualifying for the Chinese Grand Prix, the Invictus Racing League No Assist Championship. Gavpig in the Renault, he does it on the ultra soft tyres, a 131.627. 1,000th of a second to Alex on the harder soft compound tyres. And then you've got Scott in third, Humbo Stone in fourth, Joel P520 in fifth, with Speed Queen in sixth, Nikki 9095 in seventh, with Never Miss down in eighth. Renner is down in ninth, and Phil, without setting a time, is in 10th position, and we've just lost Gavpig from the session. So obviously the pole says he was having an issue with power just before the race, so we'll look to see if we can grab him back in as soon as possible. If not, it may have to be a lobby reset, but we will keep you updated on what's going on, guys. So yeah, it's a fantastic session, and whilst these guys are readying up and we're trying to get Gav back in the lobby, I'd just like to say thank you very much to you all for supporting the channel and being able to get us to the level of being Twitch affiliated now. So yeah, you can subscribe to the channel if you want to see it. If you want to get notified, you can support the channel with a subscription of your choice. You can either do that by using Amazon Prime and using your Prime subscription on Twitch, or you can go to the subscribe button on the channel and go to choosing your subscription that you'd like. Equally, if you want to cheer with bits, you can buy Twitch bits and you can cheer along and let us know in the comments who you're cheering for, what you want to see from these guys, and what we're doing on track. We've already readied up, so we'll look to see the guys are readying up, so we'll look to see if we're going to keep going, because obviously we're missing our pole sister at the moment, with GP1 Alex currently leading the drivers round after a very, very short setup time there.
That'd be devastating for Gavpig if he can't make this race after getting pole position. GP1 Alex, he won't be complaining if he can take pole position and lead these guys round the first corner. It'd be really gutted for Gavpig. I was curious to see what he could do on the ultra soft tyre, whether he could pull out a lead early on and try and use the ultra soft tyre the best it can possibly be. So tough one. Who would you go for then? Say Gavpig isn't involved. Who would you favour coming into this race now? Say GP1 Alex is provisionally pole.
I mean, Alex showed great pace in qualifying on the soft compound tyres, but if you've got Scott alongside you now, he's not going to give up going into turn one, so the Mercedes is going to have a great chance at a run on the Sauber. But yeah, I mean, it could be anyone's guess. They're all now that we've possibly lost Gav, and he was the only one on the ultra soft tyres. Everyone seems to be slightly neutralised on tyre choices down to the back. And in fact, we'll check in with the tyre choices for the race. Of course, so it's Phil MCF, so he's gone for the medium compounder tyre. So Phil is on the hardest compounder tyre. So it's going to be an interesting first part of the race here.
Definitely, and if it's staying as it is now, Scott is in a perfect position to maximise his points and take advantage of key drivers not being involved today. Speed Queen has a bit of work to do. Yes, 6th position's not too bad. A little bit of work to do, but if Scott can take advantage and get ahead of GP1 Alex early on, this is his race to win then, and I think he can take full advantage and close the gap in the championship.
Got 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and we are off and away in China for the No Assist Championship here at Invictus Racing League. Finally, the cars leave the grid. GP1 Alex is going to stretch all the way down to turn 1. It's the Mercedes that have gone 2 and 3. Do they keep it clean into turn 1? They do just about stay away from each other. Looks like we've had a clean run down into turn 1. Oh, it's the Sauber tucking nicely onto the apex, shuts the door on Joel, who's managed to jump his teammate Scott. In fact, he's going to challenge for the lead coming out of turn 4 up towards turn 5. Oh, the two almost coming into contact there, but nicely done for Alex. He just about maintains the lead, but great start there for Joel.
Fantastic start for Joel. Scott just bogged down a bit. He just straight up the inside and took advantage of his teammates. Not great start. GP1 Alex under severe pressure now from Joel. Joel's going to want to get ahead of GP1 Alex as soon as possible. He's literally pushing that Sauber around the track at the minute and towing his teammate along. GP1 Alex is going to be under some severe pressure as they head down into turn 12, coming up to turn 13. Can Joel get the early jump on GP1 Alex and start to claim this race for Mercedes?
Yeah, just on board here with Scott. He's tucked in nicely behind his teammate at the moment. They are all trying to follow each other's slipstream. And Scott just sitting behind Joel, doesn't want to do anything too silly. It's only lap one. Of course, you are teammates. You don't want to run into the back of him going down into the hairpin. Nicely done there for the two Mercedes, still keeping the pressure up on GP1 Alex in the lead. And in fact, they're slowly starting to bridge a little gap between themselves and Humberstone, as GP1 Alex is the first to cross the line. But there you go, Scott's pulled out alongside his teammate down the main straight, and he looks to sweep on the inside. So the two Mercedes going side by side into turn 3. Oh, then Scott just about cuts in front of Joel, manages to move up into second position. But yeah, who said team orders were a thing? And these two fighting for second position. Scott knows that if he's going to claw back some points in the championship, he needs to overhaul his teammate, and he needs to get past Alex as soon as possible.
Joel was never going to make that easy, was it? Like you say, what team orders? Scott really had to fight for that position, and now he's got past him. His sights are firmly set on GP1. Can he get the move done early on? Will he wait for DRS to be activated and then use the advantage of DRS? He's closing in on GP1. I thought we was going to have a longer scrap between the two Mercedes guys, and it would probably help GP1 to pull away, but that didn't last. And now Scott has now got his sights firmly set on GP1 as they come round to heading down to turn 14, as Scott is now starting to pull away from his teammate and focus on GP1 Alex.
Oh, never miss. Almost losing control of the Sauber on the exit turn 13 there. He was very racy up against Renner earlier in the lap and trying to get the move done, but unfortunately just couldn't quite get close enough. But we've got a battle between the Haas of Humberstone and Speed Queen at the moment for fourth position. Speed Queen now starting to hassle, or literally hassle, the back of the Haas car of Humberstone. But equally, look at these two Ferraris nose to tail as we go down the main straight. Speed Queen's going to try and sweep around the outside of Humberstone going down into turn 1 and turn 2. That will be an excellent move, and she gets it done. Superb move there from the reigning champion of no assist, Speed Queen. She moves up into fourth position.
I was on board with Humberstone as he was heading down to turn 14, and I'm positive he ran into the back of Joel, not by much, but he ran into the back of Joel, and I think he took ever so slight wing damage, which might have compromised him into turn 1. He lost quite a bit of time going into the final turn as well, so maybe that has just hindered him a little bit as he's now slowly starting to fall away from Speed Queen, so maybe some damage on the front wing of Humberstone.
Yeah, Speed Queen starting to catch up to Joel now. She's only 0.7 of a second behind the Mercedes, and Joel starting to fall back after a good start, starting to drop back from his teammates. Now 1.4 seconds behind Scott, and Scott now well within striking distance of Alex, going down this back straight now, and he's tucked in nicely into the slipstream of the Sauber, and it's such a powerful DRS straight down here that you can hear that little beep of DRS, and here you go, Mercedes going to breeze past the Sauber. There's not going to be much Alex can do about it unless he wants to try and throw it down the inside. He's going to try and hold on to it. In fact, they're still side by side on the exit of turn 14 down into turn 15. They're still side by side, but Scott has the inside and he gets the move done to Alex down into second position, but he's still not giving up. These two still side by side, and we're going to go. Alex is actually going to maintain the position down to turn 1, but Scott's going to try and come back down the inside, switches back, and the Mercedes finally, by the looks of it, taking the lead of the race in a superb side-by-side battle between the two.
That was fantastic. Great battling there. They're really close. No banging wheels or anything. They got absolutely bang on. Good respect there. And Scott eventually got the move done. He probably thought he got the move done a couple of corners sooner, but GP1 Alex was having none of it, but eventually just had to give in and concede. So his point of view, he's going to want to try and stick close to Scott now, and then try and use payback on Scott and use the DRS back on him down to turn 14.
Yeah, GP1 Alex, he hasn't dropped off the back of Scott at all at the moment, so these two are going to go at it once again as we come to the back straight, except for it's going to be role reversal this time round, and it's going to be Alex that has the best DRS advantage on the Mercedes ahead. but he's got Joel for very close company behind, so Scott is under threat from possibly dropping from first down to third at the moment. In fact, Alex had a poor run out of turn 13 there, so I say he might have been able to challenge him first. He's now going to have to look at the second Mercedes, who's going to peel to the inside using DRS. Is he going to get it slowed down? The two locking up, but the Mercedes has got the inside line, and it's slight contact between the two, but good overtake there from Joel, and it's now a Mercedes 1-2.
Like I was saying in qualifying, that turn 13, if you don't nail turn 13 heading down that straight, it compromises you so much. GP1, like as you've seen, had DRS, but he just still couldn't hold off Joel, who got the much better exit out of turn 13 and took full advantage. And now Joel is now up in second place, like you say, Mercedes 1-2, and GP1 Alex have been kicking himself because he thought he could have the jump on Scott, and he's now ended up in third place.
Yeah, and they've dragged Speed Queen into that battle. She's now only 3.5 tenths behind the Sauber at the moment, so Alex may see his lead pretty much have become fourth position in 2 laps at the moment. The Ferrari of Speed Queen 80 is all over the rear end of that Sauber as we end round the second sector now, and out of Anvil hairpin. Alex getting a slightly poor run out of it, and that's going to give Speed Queen just a little bit of a sighter going into the long straight, and Alex going deep into turn 11 there, so she's going to be nice and close behind the Sauber, and using that Ferrari power, hopefully she'll look to go straight past the Sauber, and I don't think Alex is going to have much to do about.
Yeah, I feel for Alex. He looked so good, and suddenly now the DRS is just absolutely. Oh, they bang wheels, Speed Queen and GP1 Alex. And can GP1 keep hold of third place? He does for now. Speed Queen will want to try and get another move on him, but at the minute, Speed Queen's just that little bit far behind to make a move into turn 1. But I'd like to point out, Phil. He's on the medium tyre, he's in 6th place, he's not that far behind Nicky, not far behind Speed Queen, and he's on the medium tyre, so he's having a very good race and could become very racy in the second half of the race.
Yeah, Phil moving up into 6th position, good start for him. Of course, he didn't set a time in qualifying, just seemed to be all over the place on the track, didn't quite have the right tyre grip or tyre temperatures, and found himself all over the place. But yeah, he's doing very nicely at the moment on the mediums, just sitting on board with Never Miss. He was having a nice battle with Renner 9, these two still going at each other, but we will catch up with what's going on back at the front. Of course, we've now almost got a 6-car battle for the lead. There's a 2.2 second gap back to Humberstone in 7th, but we've got a top 6 now that are starting to impose themselves on, almost a train starting to form behind the Mercedes.
Yeah, this is where the DRS could probably cancel each other out, because the only person it's going to probably disadvantage is Scott, because he's not going to be out of DRS. I've now given Phil the commentator's curse, because he's now gone and got a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, Phil running wide at turn 13 there, out onto the runoff area like we saw in qualifying, so struggling with that corner tonight, but still managing to keep the power down. He didn't lift at all. He was determined to keep that McLaren pointing in a straight line, and he thought the best way of doing that is just keeping pedal to the metal, and he sets the fastest lap, so possibly a little track excursion there just gave him a little bit of extra speed. Yeah, Phil doing the fastest lap of the race on lap 7. We've still got this 6-car battle for the race lead at the moment. We've got the Mercs up front, GP1 Alex doing very nicely to hold off the Ferraris in 4th and 5th, and the McLaren of Phil MCFC on the harder medium tyres in 6th.
Yeah, Phil, I think, ignoring that 3-second time penalty, he could be on for a potential podium finish here if he can make these mediums last and then run much longer than the soft tyres, and then jump onto the soft tyres later on in the race, or if he can make them stretch even longer, go onto the old soft tyres, and then really impose himself on the second half of the race and really get amongst these guys. But at the minute, like you say, it's just a train in a minute, and most of the guys in this train are pretty much relying on a mistake or something to go wrong with the other guy, because like I say, the DRS is cancelling each other out from second down to 6th. They're just not really getting anywhere at the minute.
Yeah, like you say, hard to overtake when you're essentially when everyone has DRS, and equally it's hard to look forward to overtaking when you're having to look behind you. And at the moment, Phil is the only one that's not having to look behind him. So he, if anything, has the slight advantage over everyone. Of course, being on the harder tyre, he's doing very nicely to keep up with the guys on the soft compounder tyre. But yeah, he doesn't have to worry about defending. Whereas even the teammate battles of Scott and Joel in first and second, and the Ferraris of fourth and fifth will have to watch out to make sure there's no inter-team contact, because of course with the Constructors' Championship still in play, that's the worst case scenario, is two teammates colliding.
Definitely. And there's definitely no team orders involved at Mercedes, because I thought there might have been some team orders that if Scott had gone to lead, and yet maybe Joel could have tried to back the pack up a little bit and let Scott get in front, but no, Joel is firmly hanging on to the back of that rear wing of Scott and keeping on the tail of him. He just can't get quite close enough, even with DRS on Scott. He can't get close enough to take advantage of that, and currently he's just dragging everybody else along with him as Joel has a bit of a snap there. He did well to keep that on the track, and can GP1 of Alex take advantage of this possibly?
Yeah, Phil MCFC getting very close to the rear end of Nicky 9095 there, and he also went very wide on the exit of turn 9, so turn 10, sorry. So it's as we've got a yellow in sector 3. Is it anyone towards the back? It doesn't look like it, so possibly a momentary yellow flag there in sector 3, but we've still got this gaggle of cars. But it's one of the real issues. Oh, as we see Speed Queen, she brakes very late, has to cut the hairpin, and she's picked herself a 5-second stop-go penalty, which is a nightmare. And all that's happened now is she's been overtaken by Nicky, and equally we're going to go 3 wide down the main straight, 2 Ferraris and a McLaren. Who's going to yield? We've still got 3 wide, and Phil's gone around the outside of both of them. Is he going to maintain it? God, the Ferrari of Nicky's almost sideways, but Phil very nicely up into 4th, so great overtaking for the McLaren driver.
Oh, he took full advantage there of Speed Queen's mistaking both the Ferraris, tried to not get into each other's way, and Phil round the outside, great move. Oh, he's just locked both front tyres there. He's possibly struggling on those mediums. I don't know, but 4th place at the minute for Phil, from starting from the back, is a great effort so far. And like I say, he could potentially be on for a race victory here if he can keep this up, and for his sake, hopefully not pick any more penalties up, because the minute that McLaren is looking very racy.
Yeah, of course, China, one of those tracks always never miss, makes up for Renner's mistake there. Renner going very, very wide, had a snap of oversteer on the exit of turn 8 into turn 9, so never miss, moving up into 8th position ahead of Renner 9. Renner suffering possibly with the effects of slightly worn tyres. I was just about to say China, one of those tracks that really does punish your tyres. So yeah, these guys are going to have to start watching out. They don't want to, of course, following in this group. Oh, as Speed Queen almost completely careers into the rear end of her teammate Nicky 995, going super hot into turn 14, just about missed him. But Speed Queen possibly a little bit hot under the colour, trying to get the positions back that she lost, knowing that she's got that 5-second stop-go penalty waiting for her at her next pit stop. So possibly the worst case scenario for what is the best bet to catch Sam in the championship.
I think I agree with you, but I was on board with Nicky, and Nicky saw Phil take a wider line into turn 14, and Nicky made a half move to go down the inside and thought better of it and slammed his brakes on, which I think also caught Speed Queen out slightly, and Nicky eventually not bothering to try and take on Phil. As we've seen, Phil is now to 3rd place. I didn't see that. I completely missed that, sorry. GP1 Alex is now down to 4th place, of Phil somewhere has overtaken GP1 Alex.
Yeah, he got up the inside into turn 6. Great move. Just had a better run out of turn 4 all the way up through the kink at turn 5 and down into turn 6. Yeah, great exit speed for the McLaren. Of course, he's on tyres that will be slightly within their life window a little bit more than these softs are at the moment. So look, you can already see that he's cruised up to the back of Joel. And even with DRS, he's going to peel to the outside of Joel. They're going to go side by side down into their hairpin. Who's going to come out of turn 14 in lead. Joel cuts across. He's not going to give up second position that easily. But this is where we'll see who's going to, as we see already, Joel dives into the pits. Speed Queen, or looked like she dived in, but it must have been Alex. It was the flash of the Sauber of Alex. So it's lap 11 is where we see the first pit stops happen. And I thought that with Joel coming under attack that he might think about pitting early and trying to look at the undercut, and that's exactly what he's decided to go for.
Yeah, these mediums now are definitely looking like the best tyre at this point in the race. Can Phil now close in on Scott and put him under real pressure to take the lead of this race? He's looking mighty. He, like you say, he cruised up to the back of Joel, and Joel doing probably the best thing of coming in now to get rid of those tough tyres. So I would not be surprised if Scott comes in at the end of this lap.
Yeah, so it's the teammate battle, of course. Didn't want a double stack, takes far too much time. They didn't have enough space on track, so it's going to have to be a 1 lap extra for Scott. So actually Joel having the preference of pit stop, Scott possibly thinking that his tyres had a little bit left in it. In fact, he's managed to stretch out a lead to Phil. He's managed to build it by just over half a second, so it's now 1.2 seconds. So luckily for Scott, he's going to be out of DRS detection. Equally, Phil's managed to get out of detection of Nicky behind. Nicky's going to have to worry about his teammate. Speed Queen is going to be all over the back of him going into the hairpin. She's going to dive very late into the hairpin, locks up, and the two Ferraris banging wheels on the exit of the hairpin, and it's for just about gets the move done there for Speed Queen as Nicky dives into the pit lane, so possibly deciding I don't really want to have to fight with my teammate. And I'm sure Matteo Bonotto was pulling his hair out on the pit wall there as he saw the two going side by side into that very harsh hairpin at turn 14.
Yeah, you're lucky there. Speed Queen didn't pick up any damage to a front wing or end plate there. It was a very late move, Daniel Ricciardo style move on a teammate, and like you say, Nicky's just thought better of it and thinking, right, I'm going to pit now and get out of this, because you like you say, you don't want teammates colliding in it, and it looked like we were going to have exactly that. So now Scott is now been into the pits. Can now Phil eke out these medium tyres and stretch out some sort of a lead to work with later on in the race?
Yeah, Speed Queen surely has to be in at the end of this lap. She's currently 3 seconds behind Phil, who leads the race on the medium tyres, of course, yet to stop those two. Scott managed to come out ahead of his teammate. In fact, he built a slight advantage of a few tenths compared to what he had at the end of their first stint. GP1 Alex just about got ahead of Nicky 9095, so a good exit and out lap for GP1 Alex there, as he's now stretching those mediums to the end. It looks like everyone's going to try and do around 16 laps on these mediums. Humbo Stone and Never Miss having a battle over 7th position, so Never Miss actually jumping both the Haas cars up into 7th position, so a good race for Never Miss in the second Sauber. We've got a yellow in sector 2, and it's Renner that's crashed out of the race. We'll look to see. It must have been in sector 1 somewhere. He was racing with his teammate, so yeah, unfortunately for Renner. Said that he enjoyed the circuit here, but it looks like he's the first one to leave us tonight with a retirement, so unfortunate there for the Haas Renner.
Yeah, that's a shame for Renner. He'll be kicking himself after that. I was just on board with Speed Queen. She served her 5-second stop-go penalties onto the medium, so she will drop down behind her teammate. Can she now make up that gap and catch up with the front guys? It's going to be a tough ask. She's not had the best of races by her standards. She'll be kicking herself tonight. She's had a bit of a scruffy race, so for her sake, hopefully she can get her head down, knuckle down now, and focus on trying to firstly catch a teammate, and then maybe try and look to get a podium place.
Yeah, not a great evening for Speed Queen so far. Of course, picked up that 5-second time penalty, cutting the chicane, cutting the hairpin at turn 14. Went a little bit too hot in, realised that she had to turn or she was going to hit the other car. Ran across put all 4 wheels off of the track, which picks you up a 5-second stop-go penalty. And we just saw there that on the exit of turn 4 that Joel just ran out like he did in qualifying on his first lap out. ran out off of the exit of turn 4 onto the grass, and he's lost a whole bundle of time to GP1 Alex, and Alex now 0.6 of a second behind the Mercedes. So after starting on pole position, after losing Gav Pig, who was our should have been pole position, of course Gav suffered a disconnection. We couldn't get him back on the back in the track in time, but yeah, Alex started on pole. He's dropped down to 3rd position or 4th position on track at the moment, but he's still looking pretty racy. He's still keeping up, so don't just put him out yet. He's still in with a chance, especially as Joel goes slightly wide there. So yeah, starting to look really racy behind the Mercedes.
Humberstone has just set the fastest lap on the mediums in his Haas there. A good lap there for Humberstone. He's currently 7 seconds behind Speed Queen at the minute. He's having an okay race at the minute. He was quite racy early on, and a little collision with Joel, so he's hoping he can use this pace that he's found to close in the back of Speed Queen. I've been keeping an eye on the time between Scott and Phil. It was 24.9 seconds. It's now to 23.1. So Phil is going to have to keep an eye on that. He doesn't want that starting to rapidly decrease and Scott then overtake him in the pit stop phase. So Phil's going to have to try and get to, like we say, lap 16 on these mediums without losing too much time to then jump onto some of the soft tyres for the rest of the race.
Yeah, Scott taking about 0.2 of a second out of him per sector at the moment, so the time's down to 22.8 seconds. I said at the start of the broadcast that a pit stop here roughly takes around 21 seconds. Of course, there's a 22.8 second gap. That would drop him just around about where Joel is at the moment, so he would fall into that fight at the moment, but he would then have the tyre advantage at the end of the race, of course, on the softer and faster compounder tyre. So, yeah, don't count him out yet. He's still in with a chance, although if he's losing time sector upon sector as Scott starts to try and just turn the screw ever so slightly and catch up to the McLaren ahead, he might have to start thinking about doing a longer stint on those soft compounder tyres.
Yeah, definitely, because it's slowly eking down, and Phil has also got to remember he does have a 3-second time penalty, so if he comes in earlier on the soft tyres, he's got to try and take advantage of those soft tyres' pace and pull away and get that 3-second advantage to the other guys out of the equation, and then he could lose time then towards the end of the race if he's taken too much out of his soft tyres. So it's a tough balance at the minute for Phil. He's probably going to want to stay out there for at least another lap and then come in and then work to try and get rid of this 3-second disadvantage on the guys around him. But at the minute he's just about hanging in on there. Is he going to go out for one more lap? He is going to stay out there for one more lap, so maybe we'll see him at the end of the next lap.
GP1 Alex now 0.2 of a second behind Joel, and he's going to have a great opportunity getting past the Mercedes down into turn 14. He pulls to the inside. It's lost the late breakers between these two, locks up the front tyres, but he's managed to get it done at the moment. We'll look to see, does Joel try and come back at him? They're still almost side by side into the final corner, but Alex just about gets the move done as Scott sets the fastest lap of 1:35.1. Great lap from him out on 5 lap or almost 5 lap. Oh, as Joel snaps out from the side of Alex there, almost lost control, but he's going to go around the outside of turn 1 into turn 2 and turn 3. Alex running him out wide there and almost off onto the runoff area. So Alex trying to keep the position, but he's lost it back. But what this has done is it's brought Nicky into play, so Nicky's going to be all over these two. In fact, Alex is going to try and dive down the inside at turn 6. Is he going to get it done? Joel's run out wide onto the runoff area, and once again this is playing right into the hands of the Ferrari of Nicky 9095.
Oh, I think Joel's going for a competition to see how much drifting he can do. Some crazy sideways action there from Joel. He's super advantage, just run wide again. GP1 Alex, if he's kicking himself, he's not held that position on Joel. Can Nicky then take advantage of these two guys just tripping over each other pretty much at the minute? And this is also slowly starting to reel Speed Queen to it, so we could end up having a 4-way battle for third place here.
Yeah, and this is working perfectly for Scott, who was having to just watch out as Phil picks up a 5-second stop go for speeding, so that effectively rules him out, as we're going to almost see 3 wide down into the hairpin. Does Nicky decide to go for it? Not quite. In fact, he's almost cut the chicane there, just like his teammate did earlier in the race. But really unfortunate for Phil. He had that pit stop waiting. He had that 3-second time penalties. Joel picks up a 3-second time penalty there, so penalties could play a huge deal in the end of the race. But Phil, he's dropped out into 2nd position, so he managed to stay ahead of this battle for 3rd position at the moment. But that 5-second stop go is effectively game over for a race victory or race win chance for the McLaren tonight.
That's gutting for him. I have been there. I've been leading the race, and it's so easy to just misjudge your braking point going into the pit lane, and you get ever so slightly wrong. And like you say, it's pretty much race victory over for Phil. Now it's all about damage limitations. Can he really push on these soft tyres and try and at least salvage a podium? Because at the current minute, the position he's not going to even get a podium, which is really unlucky for Phil, because he's had a mighty race so far. Scott Boy better know, if he's aware of it, all he has to do now is just drive a clean race, and this race victory should be his.
Yeah, Phil, he's now a 2nd behind Scott, and he will probably cruise up to the rear end of the Mercedes. But of course, Scott will be checking in with his race engineer, and they'll be telling him that the driver has got a penalty, so he shouldn't have to fight him too much. But it's Nicky very just about hits the or clears the rear end of the Mercedes there. But these 3 still going at it for 3rd at the moment. Take over, Sam. I'm just about to choke to death.
Okay, so Nicky, is still watching this battle. I'm on board at the minute. He's still watching this battle with GP1 Alex and Joel. Can he see an advantage and take any opportunity he can of these guys potentially making a mistake or even running into each other? And at the minute, it doesn't look like that. Joel is currently hunting GP1 Alex down as we watch Phil go on board with Phil. He's side by side with Scott. He's going to try and take a move done before the DRS zone down to turn 14. Is he going to probably play it safe and then use the DRS? I would probably do that. He's thinking probably better of it at the minute, as he's now heading down to turn 11, turn 12. Can he now stay on the back end of that Mercedes, use the DRS, retake the lead in name at the minute? Scott, you would think, if he's aware of the penalty, wouldn't make much of a fight of this and just let Phil do his thing, because at the current minute, Phil's now cruising up, DRS full tow, Scott's full defensive. Can Phil go round the outside of turn 14? He locks his tyres up. Scott defends well, keeps his elbows out as much as possible. Now Phil's trying to go round the outside. Scott just about keeps him behind, but now Phil has got DRS again, going straight down, start finish it, heading down to turn 1. Phil is now running into the lead. Can Scott keep it down the inside and potentially retake the lead? Phil is still ahead, but Scott is not giving it up. Scott is not giving it up at all. It's a great battle, but Phil is now got inside line. Phil now finally takes the lead. What a battle we had there between the Mercedes and McLaren.
Yeah, superb fight. Sorry, I'm back from the dead. I was choking on air there. But yeah, these two, as Scott gets the move done down into turn 6, superb move down the inside. And these two not giving up, and Scott not aware, or even if he is aware, not wanting to give up track position. But Phil, he's on those much fresher tyres. Oh, almost collecting the rear end of the Mercedes there. But yeah, these two going at it for 3rd position with 10 laps left to go in the race.
This could be a case. If Phil could get frustrated behind here, he knows he's on the quicker tyre. He's currently going to have DRS again. He doesn't want to trip up over Scott. Phil's got another penalty now, another 3-second tyre penalty. He's just pushing too hard now, and he does take the lead from Scott with DRS, but now he's just racking up the points for fun, the time penalties for fun now, and he's just costing himself a potential podium chance here now. After such a good race, I get frustration for Phil because the race victory was here for him today. He had a superb stint on the medium tyres, and now Scott just has to play it safe, and it's easy for him. He doesn't need to get involved with a tussle with Phil. Yeah, you don't want to be running second. Nobody wants to be running second, but you know he's just got to play it safe now, Scott. That is my opinion. As Phil again locks up.
Yeah, those two fighting over the lead at the moment. Yeah, absolutely galling for Phil. Just pushing, like you say, pushing too hard, and it's that turn 13, that exit. He's picked up 3 second time penalties around that corner so far at this race, and it's just a real race ruiner for the McLaren. He's really struggled, but it's been a superb race. Went for the second, or the split strategy, the reverse strategy. Went harder first to go softer at the end, and the worst thing for him is even if he had that 10, or will most likely be a 10-second time penalty at the end of the race, he's probably going to stretch out a 10-second lead over Joel in third position at the moment, because there's an almighty battle going on at the moment between Joel, Nicky, Alex and Speed Queen for third, fourth, fifth and sixth at the moment. In fact, we've got Nicky and Joel going side by side down into the hairpin, and Alex is going to look to join them and go 3 wide into the hairpin. Alex, this would be incredibly brave. Oh, it's a little bit messy. The Ferrari's almost getting tangled, the Mercedes, but Alex, superb move, 2 or 3 wide, he gets it done.
And Speed Queen is alongside Joel. I thought they was going to hit into the final corner. I don't know how Joel is not giving up that position. He's keeping that Mercedes. He runs Speed Queen wide, and Speed Queen pretty much is giving up that position just for now, and probably will aim to attack Joel again. But absolutely fantastic racing from these four at the minute. Nicky currently in fourth behind GP1 Alex. At one point it was GP1 Alex down in fifth. It is changing every lap. We could be going down to the final lap for the final podium position if Phil doesn't pick up any more penalties, that is. What a battle we've got here.
Yeah, we are 3/4 of the way through the race lap 21 of 28. We've got a close battle for the race win at the moment, of course, on track, but we know that Phil has got a lot of time penalties coming his way, almost 16 seconds time penalties if 5 seconds is doubled. And equally, Alex, superb move up into third position. He's looking at reclaiming some lost time. He's got Nicky 9095 for company in third and fourth position, while Speed Queen, she's right on the gearbox of Joel going down the main straight. Does she peel to the inside? She does, so she's going to look to go around down the inside into the hairpin. She gets it done, so Joel now down to sixth position.
That was a much better move from Speed Queen there. Nicely late on the brakes, made sure got the nose in and did not give Joel any chance to try and sneak back up on the inside there. Much better overtake for Speed Queen, as Joel is not giving it up, and Joel is now down on the inside. Speed Queen not having it easy, and Joel retakes fifth place. I was on board with Speed Queen and he caught me off guard. I did not expect to see that Mercedes back up there, but Joel fighting like crazy in that Mercedes, and Speed Queen will be sick to death of seeing that Mercedes at the minute, as Speed Queen now makes another late dive down this tire, and these two are not giving it up at all. Slightly nudges Joel wide, and Speed Queen retakes fifth place back. It's literally every corner we're going to change position with these guys in a minute. Fantastic fight between the two of them.
Yeah, we said at the start of this stream that don't worry about the lack of drivers, because it wouldn't mean that the action would be any less, and what way to prove us right, because these guys have been absolutely superb. We know that this is a good track for overtaking on, and they're just proving us right. Lap on lap, we've seen GP1 Alex and Nicky having a great fight over third and fourth at the moment. In fact, we'll go on board of Nicky as he follows Alex down the main straight now. He's in with a good chance of getting up into third. Scott now 0.8 of a second behind Phil, but here comes Nicky down the outside. Does he manage to get it slowed down? It's going to be last of the late breakers here. Who's going to get it done? Oh, there's a bit of contact between the two, but they're still side by side.
I was on board with Joel and Speed Queen, and Joel has retaken 5th place. Joel, because Speed Queen had been fighting with Joel, she didn't have DRS on the car ahead, and Joel just like a bullet flying up, catching up, and Speed Queen had the position, but she outbraked herself into turn 14, ran wide, and it opened the door for Joel, and Joel said thank you very much and reclaimed 5th place. So Speed Queen yet again is stuck looking at the rear end of that Mercedes. She must be absolutely hating the sight of it at the minute.
Yeah, those two have an absolutely fantastic battle over 5th and 6th position at the moment. GP1 Alex is still trying to keep onto the rear end of Nikki 9995, but Nikki trying to pull a gap now and maintain a podium push. And of course, with Joel picking up a 3-second time penalty early in the race, he's going to need to build a little bit of a gap as well. And he's at the moment possibly in the way of dropping down 2 positions, because Humberstone in the Haas is only 1.3 seconds behind the pair of them. So yeah, he's possibly going to be looking at dropping much further down the order than he was previously thinking.
He's going to have to keep an eye on his wing mirrors here, because we're going to have action replay again. Speed Queen has now got the DRS. She's closing. Is she going to make a late dive? She's just a little bit further. She's got to try hardest, but no. Joel shuts the door and says, no, you are not coming through just yet. Joel keeps the position for now, but at the minute, because Joel and Speed Queen have fallen off 4th place, whoever's got that 5th place at the minute has just got no DRS to defend from the person in 6th, and it's just allowing them to close up and try for these late dives. And Speed Queen will want to try and keep on to the tail of Joel and try again with the DRS move down to turn 14. It's absolutely between 3rd and 4th and 5th and 6th. We've got 2 great battles at the minute.
Yeah, we've seen overtakes galore here. Round 7 of the No Assist Championship with Invictus Racing League. And of course, guys, it's not the only race of Invictus this week. We've got the Realistic Performance Leagues 1 and 2 tomorrow night. And then on Wednesday, we've got F1, we've got F2, and we've got F3 back on track here at China. So make sure you tune in on twitch.tv. Check out all of the social streams where you can find all of the stream links at Invictus RL on Twitter and Instagram, Invictus Racing Leagues on Facebook. So make sure you check us out and get yourself on the grid for the next season as we look towards the F1 2019 game by going to invictusracingleagues.com and going to the sign up page. Get your name on the website and speak to one of the admins, and we'll get you on the grid. We've equally got some fun looking after season invitationals due to the new game coming out sooner than planned. So we'll probably not be having a 3rd season, but we will have some fun ideas coming your way very shortly. So stay tuned to all the socials for all news and updates on Invictus Racing League.
The current minute, Speed Queen cannot get past Joel. Has she pushed too hard on these medium tyres, and is it now a case of just relying on Joel to make a mistake? She's nearly running to the back of Joel. Wow, Joel made a mistake. The car was going wide, and Speed Queen just did not anticipate that, and she did so well not to slam into the back of Joel there and ruin her race. Wow, that was so close. I am gobsmacked. Those two did not hit us. Joel again has locked to his side. He also now seems to be struggling on those medium tyres, so it could be a case of these two have just pushed way too hard on the medium tyres now, and now are just trying to nurse the cars home to the last 3 laps.
Yeah, of course, Speed Queen's tyres 2 laps fresher compared to Joel's. Joel obviously tried that undercut much earlier. He was the first one to come in. Speed Queen, she had to stay out a little bit longer due to the fact that Nikki came in 1 lap earlier. But yeah, so she does have the tyre advantage, but Joel doing very nicely to put that Mercedes in all the right places, making it as hard as possible as Scott's back up into the lead of the race. So these two not giving up on track, and in fact he's got the move done into the hairpin, but Phil's going to try and come back right at him going into the final corner. We're sitting on the front wing of the McLaren. He's peeling to the back, and we've still got a side-by-side battle for the lead going into turn 1, and they're still going at it, and it's a superb fight all up and down the grid. We've seen action as Scott just about keeps himself from Nicky, or just about keeps contact from the rear end of the McLaren, but great fight for the lead at the moment.
He wants that overall win, doesn't he, Scott? He does not want to finish second and get first like that. He wants to cross that finish line first, and he's making sure Phil is going to have an uncomfortable last couple of laps here, but he just doesn't want to trip over Phil here. He wants to play it safe. It could, with how close they're running, he could easily clip his rear wing into the back of that car and really compromise his last 2 laps. So he needs to play it safe here. Can he just stay close and use the DRS to take advantage down the long straight? He's not giving up on the overall race victory, finishing first at the minute.
No, he's going to be right in behind the McLaren coming around. He's just gone through DRS detection now, so he's going to have a great run on Phil coming out of turn 13 now. So he's going to be tucked in nicely into the gearbox of the McLaren ahead, and we'll look to see DRS is open and activated. There he goes down the inside, and he's going to get the move done super early. Phil's going to have nothing to say about it. And there you go, Scott retakes the lead, and these two swap over once again.
While we was watching that, Speed Queen has now retake 5th place from Joel. I missed that. That's my bad. So Speed Queen is now back up into 5th. Probably 5th is going to be the best she can finish today, because currently she's 5.3 seconds behind GP1. But with these two battling, like you pointed out earlier, it has brought Humberstone right back up to it now, and Humberstone just 0.8 of a second behind Joel. So Humberstone will want to try and take advantage of these two guys squabbling the last couple of laps.
Yeah, Humberstone will be looking at a top 6 finish if it all stays this way, as Phil back up into the lead. It's still side by side as we catch on board with these two once again. Still side by side on the exit of turn 6 into turn 7. Phil retakes the lead. So these two just swapping. So this is a strange window now where Phil's soft tyres will be slowly starting to go off. And there's still a little bit of contact. Don't lose your front wing, lads. There's only 2 laps left to really hurt you, so this is the worst play. You do not want to pick up any silly wing damage now, but yeah, it's these two still going at each other for the win. However, we know that Phil has that huge time penalty to come.
Yeah, and for the battle of 5th place, Joel is falling away from Speed Queen, which is now playing into the hand of Humberstone. Joel won't have DRS as he's gone sideways again around turn 13. He must be really struggling on those medium tyres. He's fallen away from Speed Queen, so Humberstone now will have DRS fully open. He's got a great opportunity to attack that Mercedes. Can he take advantage? He's just a bit too far ahead, but it has brought him a lot closer to Joel. Can he make life uncomfortable for Joel on this final lap and potentially steal that 6th place away from him?
Yeah, we are, as you say, on the final lap of the Chinese Grand Prix of round 7 of the Invictus Racing League No Assist Championship. Scott was the man that crossed the line to start the final lap first. These two have had an absolutely supreme battle over the last 6 or 7 laps or so, trading positions numerous occasions, lost count how many times they've managed to get past each other, but it looks as if Phil may have given up. He's slightly too far back to have a go at the moment, unless he can really cruise up to the back of the Mercedes in this final sector. But it looks like Scott is going to finally get himself back up onto the top step of the podium for the first time since Spain at round 2. He hasn't actually had the best times. He's yet to be on the podium since Spain, so he'll be glad to pick up 15 championship points if all goes to plan over these next 3 or 4 corners. But we'll look to see, does Phil go for an incredibly late lunge? He's going to have to do it from incredibly far back, or does he look? But it looks like Nicky 9995 and GP1 Alex might benefit from Phil's misdemeanors earlier in the race, and it's going to be another podium potentially for GP1 Alex.
He's had another solid race, GP1. So I'm just watching Humberstone. He's all over the back of Joel now. His DRS wide open. He's going round the outside. Phil picks up another 5-second penalty. Oh no, it's the penalty he's not served. Apologies. As Humberstone and Joel, they were literally bouncing off each other down at turn 14 as they crossed the finish line. And congratulations to Scott. Nicky takes 2nd place, GP1 Alex in 3rd, and Phil, unfortunately for him, drops down to 4th place.
Yeah, Phil unfortunately does drop down to fourth. Great race there. Congratulations to Boy Ben and OSB Scott. He picked up the race victory. Nicky is in second in the Ferrari. GP1 Alex is in third. Then you've got Phil in fourth. He manages to hold off the penalties, the big front from Speed Queen. And in fact, Humbo Stone will be absolutely kicking himself. He picked up a 3-second time penalty on the last corner of the race, and it cost him the position up against Joel. So Joel maintains sixth position because Humbo Stone cut that final corner ever so slightly. So Joel there, he is rewarded for his battle by not dropping down any further. So congratulations to everyone for what was a pretty excellent race, and we saw some superb overtakes, some superb racing from these guys. And Sab, it proves, doesn't it, that it doesn't matter how many drivers you got on track, it's the quality of the drivers.
Oh, 100%. It was superb battles tonight, superb mini battles, and then we had the big four at one point. Oh, what a battles! Huge congratulations to Scott. Boy better know he took full advantage. He needed to do exactly what he's done tonight. There was 15 points in the bag. It can drive him closer to the top of the championship. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to Nicky. He went about his business quite quietly. Grabbed an excellent second place. GP1 Alex, another podium for him. Great race. I really feel sorry for Phil. He could have rather win today, and those penalty points, not penalty points. Those time penalties have cost him today.
Yeah, there you go. You've got Scott takes the victory ahead of Nicky and Alex in second and third. Phil in fourth with Speed Queen coming home fifth. Joel V520 holds on to sixth position after Humbo Stone picks up that late penalty. Never Miss is the last of the runners in eighth, whilst we lost Renner 9 earlier in the session. So a great race for the guys tonight. And GP1 Alex comes into comments and says, was worried about having a lonely race. It was far from that. It was indeed. It was an absolutely spectacular race from yourself and from the rest of the guys out there on the grid. So well done to everyone tonight for making it a pretty tasty race to start off the week in Invictus. And like I said, guys, thanks for getting us to Twitch affiliated level. You can subscribe to the channel if you want to get more, if you want to get notified, you want to stay on board with what's going on with Invictus. Make sure you click subscribe. You put in your like I said before, you can use Amazon Prime and use your Amazon Prime Twitch donation. You get 1 free month's subscription, as it doesn't cost you a penny, but we get the benefit of the payment, and it goes directly into making the league bigger and better, hopefully getting things such as trophies and goodies for the winning drivers at the end of the season. So yeah, we are looking to grow, so your support is massively appreciated. So thank you very much to our subscribers that we've already picked up, and equally to our new followers that we've seen over the last week or so. But as we look back over the race, Sab, are there any moments that you think stand out as a one to look back and possibly clip as we look at our best moments at the end of the season?
That early on, when we had the train of cars, that was fantastic. But that battle for third place, just after the pit stop phase, the four guys, absolutely fantastic. And then it split into a mini battles, 2 and 2. There was some great battles, but for me, the best battle on the track today was between Speed Queen and Joel. They just did not give up. There was great battling. They didn't ran into each other. There was hard battling, but it was fair, and Speed Queen ended up the victor between the two, and she'll be thankful for that, because if I was her, I'd have been pretty sick to death of seeing that Mercedes going past me nearly every lap.
Yeah, superb driving from both the Mercedes, both of the Ferraris, but equally we saw a quality qualifying from Alex to get himself up in second, 1,000th of a second split first and second. Unfortunately, Gavpig couldn't make the start, but Alex was the beneficiary of that. He did come home and pick up another podium, so it's another a third podium for GP1 Alex. He will be pretty happy with that in the grand scheme of things, whereas it's 15 championship points for Boy Better Know, meaning he takes, I believe he may take the lead in Tier 1 going into the 8th round of the season in Australia next week. So down under to Melbourne next week for the Australian Grand Prix. Like I said, join us tomorrow night on twitch.tv for Performance League, Realistic Performance 1 and Realistic Performance 2. And then equally on Wednesday for F1, F2 and F3. check out the socials, Invictus RL on Instagram and on Twitter, Invictus Racing League on Facebook, and invictusracingleague.com, where you can get yourself cited on the sign up page, and equally check out the league tables if you want to find out how all your favourite drivers are doing. But for tonight, thank you very much for joining us in the stream. Saw a lot of you watching tonight, so it's great to see the league being well supported. And yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel or follow. Equally, share it so that others can see it. And it's great to have you along. Thank you very much, Sab, for joining me. It's always great to have you in the box. And by the sound of it, we're going to be missing you next week.
Yes, unfortunately, I'm away on holiday for the Easter weekend, so unfortunately I won't be here. It's a shame because I love the Australian Grand Prix, but it's been, once again, it has been an absolute pleasure to be alongside you for this race. We've had nothing but great races this season, and this, once again, has proven me right on that. Like you say, despite how many people have missed tonight, it's been absolutely fantastic to watch.
Yeah, it will be a miss not having you next week, but I will be joining you once again next Monday for the No Assist Championship in Australia for the 8th round of the No Assist Championship. So make sure you come and join us once again here on twitch.tv, and check us out on Twitter at Alan Sabatino and at GT2_driving, where you can find all of us and hear our ramblings. Sab mostly on McLaren, me mostly on my terrible driving skills. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Sorry that I almost died halfway through the stream, choking on air, but thanks to Sab for taking over. But yeah, we thank you all for watching, and we will see you next week.